Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namandobs, Namandobs, Namandobs. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's service. We'll begin with opening meditation. If you could please join me in Gassho. With these sacred words of the Buddha, we know clearly that when foolish beings, possessed of all blind passions, the multitudes of beings caught in birth and death and defiled by evil karma, realize the mind and practice that Amida directs to them for their going forth, they come to dwell among the truly settled of the Mahayana teaching. Those who dwell among the truly settled necessarily attain nirvana. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namandobs, Namandobs. We'll continue today's service with the recitation of the three treasures. Fortunate is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Rare is it to encounter the teachings of the Buddha. Now we hear it. If we do not seek the truth of the Dharma in this life, in what life shall we find it? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken within us our highest aspiration. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the Dharma and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in a life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriad of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful teaching. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namandobs, Namandobs, Namandobs. We'll now have the chanting of the Juseige. Namandobs, 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 Namandobs. Gagon chosegan hishi mujono shigan fumanzo sefu joshogan gao munyoko fui dai se shiu Fusai shobing sefu jo shoga gashi jobutsu no myosho chojipo kukyo mishomon sefu jo shoga Niyokujin shonen Joe shubongyo Shigumu jodo Isho tenin shi Jinniki hendaigo Usho musaido Shoujo sankumyo Kosai shuyakunan Kaihi chiegen Meshi kommoan Heisoku sho akuno Tsunatsu zen shumon Koso jo manzo いよのじぽ日月春秋期 天根普賢一種海王像公正功徳を上大集中説法四子君空用一切物具足修徳を元年出上満得意三害を女仏無下地つらつ未不詳願学縁に投資最小尊志願や国家大戦の感動国書天人東鎮妙慶南蛮大部南蛮大部南蛮大部南蛮大部南蛮大部南蛮大部願にしくどく平等正祭道本母大心往生安楽南蛮大仏南蛮大仏南蛮大仏南蛮大仏南蛮大仏南蛮大仏南蛮大仏 Our first gatha for today will be Namu Amida Butsu.
When life is fair and sunlight gilds the day, when fortune smiles
now have the recitation of the golden chain. Golden chain. I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amita's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida. Okay, now I'll give the Dharma message. I was reading through the Kyosho in our new service book. So to continue to expand on some of the terminology or the language that they use to help understand it, on, let's see here, page 4, the Kyosho, and then under this teaching, it says, attaining the entrusting heart, awakening to the compassion of Amida Tathagata, Buddha, through the working of the primal vow, we shall walk the path of life, reciting Amida's name, Nembutsu. At the end of life, we'll be born in the Pure Land and attain Buddhahood, returning at once to this delusional world to guide people to awakening. So last week, I talked about the primal vow, this wish, and made a comparison to ice cream. So during a hot day, I like ice cream, and everyone is subject to the heat, and so probably everybody wants ice cream. And this wish that I have for ice cream, everyone else has a wish for ice cream, and it comes this universal or just general wish for everyone to have ice cream. But this is kind of a leap, right, from going from I want ice cream into I want everyone to have ice cream. And I will start to maybe close the gap between the two by trying to explain another term within this teaching. So in the previous, or I guess in the same sentence, but a little bit before this primal vow, it says, awakening to the compassion of Amida Tathagata, or Buddha. So that's how we eventually, or that's how through the working of the primal vow, we awaken. Now, when we hear the word awaken, what do you think of? I would assume it would be sleep, right? Because when you're waking up, it's from when you're sleeping. Now, this is again a metaphor where all of us are sleeping throughout our lives. So right now, we're probably awake, or I don't know, maybe you're sleeping right now because you go to sleep to my voice. I don't know. I heard someone say something about it's very soothing, and so they listen to my podcast when they need to go to sleep. Anyway, if you're sleeping, then you aren't aware, right? You aren't aware of what's going around you. You're just in your, I guess, sleep. And some of us have dreams, right? So I personally don't really remember a lot of my dreams. I don't know if that says something about me or not. Perhaps some of you have dreams, have lucid dreams. But anyway, imagine now that you're all sleeping and what it would take to wake you up. So some people are light sleepers. I'm kind of a light sleeper. It doesn't take very much to wake me up. But some people are deep sleepers. And some people sleep very, very deep, so much so that it's kind of hard to wake them up, even if you shake them. So now imagine you are maybe one of those people who are sleeping very, very deeply. And it's maybe in the middle of the night. So, when you're falling asleep, you can kind of wake up. It's a little uncomfortable. You try to find a comfortable position, which is kind of the opposite of early in the morning, right? Where you have to wake up and it feels like every position is comfortable and every position you could go back to sleep. So maybe a little bit before that where, okay, so you're a deep sleeper and you're sleeping right before you have to wake up, And so you're in this real deep sleep that even if someone woke you up, you'd probably go right back to sleep. And imagine that you're dreaming. And in your dream, you hear an alarm clock and someone is trying to wake you up. So you're in this dream where someone's trying to wake you up, but you're still sleeping, even through all of that. So you're a deep sleeper, right before you gotta wake up, and you're dreaming of someone waking you up, so you're not waking up. It'd probably be very, very difficult for you to get up or someone to try to wake you up, because even if someone tried to wake you up, you would think that it was just the dream and you would just keep sleeping. Now, this is a very, very extreme example, but this is what Jodo Shinshu is trying to teach us how each of us actually are. That we're all sleeping through our life, that we don't see life in the real world. We're in this kind of dreamlike state. And so because of that, we need something to wake ourselves up. Now, how we understand this awakening has two parts, in my opinion. So the way that I understand it, the easiest way for myself to understand it, and thus the easiest way for me to explain it, is that this awakening actually has two parts. So one part is on ourself, within ourself, and the other part is external to ourself. But both of them take this reflection of who we are. So we really have to focus on who we are. And when we focus on who we are in this world to ourselves, in relationship to other people, we recognize that we are, as I mentioned in the opening meditation, that we are these foolish beings possessed of all blind passions. And it isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is a human thing. So it's just natural that we are born this way, that we have all these blind passions, that we are foolish beings. And really, what an easy way to understand it, because it is kind of these kind of scary and like heavy and dark terms, is that we're not perfect, and that's all right. We're born not perfect. No one is perfect, and that's okay. We end up being kind of selfish, we end up not knowing everything, and these are all just parts of being human. However, if we never look at ourselves, we never realize that about who we are. It takes some actual effort and taking the time to recognize that. Now that's the internal part, and the external part is realizing that even though we're not perfect, even though we can be selfish sometimes, even though we might be a little ignorant, that people still care for us. And not just people, but and the entire world around us. So whether it's the food nourishing us, whether it's the water that we drink, whether it's the house that we live in, and of course, the people that are around us and caring for us, all of these things still continue to help us live. So there's these two aspects that help us awaken to the reality. And it's, again, looking inward and realizing that we're not perfect, and looking outwards and realizing that even though we're not perfect, still the world is very kind to us. So with these two aspects, this is what awakens us to the reality of the world. This is what is eventually going to wake us up from this deep, 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 deep slumber. So I guess going back to the metaphor, it'd be kind of like looking around and realizing that we're in this dreamlike state, that we're in a dream. And then someone outside of us kind of maybe, I don't know, whatever, like yelling really loud or maybe giving us kind of a jostle or something and waking us up from outside. When we see that, we're, of course, grateful to the person who was trying to wake us up, because I'm assuming we're, in the rush to go to work or school or something like that. Anyway, so once we recognize we're dreaming, we can realize that we need to wake up. When someone helps us to wake up, we appreciate and we're thankful to them. And then we can start seeing, living the life that we were supposed to do, that the life that will make us able to do whatever we were supposed to do that day. So this is one step of how we move from I want ice cream to I want everyone have ice cream, because when we recognize our own foolish nature, our own imperfections, we recognize that we are part of this world of people, that everyone also has these imperfections. Everyone also needs to wake up. Everyone also is working to get to the day that they need to have. Tomorrow, I will, or not, excuse me, not tomorrow, next week, I will take that final step going from I want ice cream to everyone wants ice cream. But this is the next step on it, trying to get us in that direction. Now, within other forms of Buddhism, meditation is very heavily relied on. It's taught that it's a very important practice. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't meditate or we can't have meditation, but within Jodo Shinshu, we really don't emphasize it as much. And that's because one of the aspects of Jodo Shinshu is that it's supposed to be for anybody, any person, no matter whatever their capabilities. There is no limitations. There is no gate that's keeping people out. And if we prescribed a certain way, then inevitably we would exclude some people because there was going to be some people that could not do it. So it's very, very vague. And it's not to say that you can't do those things. It could be very helpful to meditate and do different practices, but there isn't a specific one that's set so that we allow this for everyone. In understanding that, recognizing that it's for any being, again, we have to reflect upon ourselves and see what it is within us that is drawing us to Jodo Shinshu and what can help us then awaken. So I hope everyone continues to live every day waking up, hopefully on time. You can do what you need to do to wake up, whether it's an alarm clock or if you live with someone perhaps that can help wake you up, or maybe you're just a light sleeper and you'll wake up on your own. But it's important for us to wake up every day on time, right? And so in the same way in our lives, it's important for us to awaken to the truth, the reality of this world. And again, it takes us some kind of method to awaken. And it's going to be different for each and every one of us, whether it's meditation, whether it's something else, whether it's working out, whether it's going to church. There's these different ways that we can awaken. And all of us have to figure it out for ourselves. But ultimately, we want to get to that point where, as I mentioned before, we recognize within ourselves that we are imperfect, recognize that we are still the product of so much coming around us, and to take the time to really try to find how we can continue to awaken to that fact. If you could all please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Okay, our closing gatha will be Ondoku-san 2. If you could please join me in Gassho for closing meditation. With these sacred words, we know clearly that this is the working of the universal vow of great love and great compassion. It is the vast and inconceivable benefit. Through it, one enters the thick forest of blind passions to guide beings, compassionately leading them in accordance with the virtue of Samantabhadra. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Okay, thank you everyone for attending today's service. We will now have announcements.